Alright guys, it's Shalom with the Paradox Gaming Network, and I cannot believe that it is the end of July already. I don't know where 2019 has gone, I don't know where the summer has gone, but since it is the end of July, what we had an Ashes of Creation live stream today, which means I'm going to do my recap. Now, this is one of the live streams I'm going to tell people. I'm not going to dig into a lot of stuff. If you're staying on top of your Ashes 101, watching the articles as I update them, watching the videos as they come out, there's not a lot of like groundbreaking information from today, but the Q&A is really kind of biased. It's subjective. You might want to swing through it real quick. Definitely want to give the first part of the live stream a look. I'm going to talk about those reasons why in just a second. For those of you that don't have a lot of time, you want your big stuff right up front, I am going to tell you that the big thing is 20 August at 11 Pacific. We're going to be having our next Apoc Battle Royale testing. Now, the details around that we don't have. We do know that this is scheduled to be a one-day testing session and that the rollout is going to follow. Now, we got a little bit of verbiage from Toast on the Discord today. I didn't include that here. The one-day session came from Steven. They're going to be doing an FAQ coming up. So kind of lets me know that they do have a plan, simply for the fact that Toast was able to say, we haven't said anything, but we have more to come. Pretty sure that they have a solid roadmap. The other thing is custom images are going to be allowed. Now, what does that mean? Any of my ArcH fans out there, you know that we can load UCCs to the game. We can, upload good-looking art. We can upload questionable stuff. We were able to put it on our sales, on our houses, half a dozen other places. Well, big thing is previously no custom images were going to be uploaded. This had a lot of guild leaders a little concerned. How am I going to replicate my guild's logo? How am I going to get that into game? Steven seemed to now that they're going to be leading towards yes, and I have with consequences, and I like the way that they're going with this. I like the way they said it during the live stream, because God forbid people be accountable for their actions. So it's a subscription-based game. If you want to risk your account by uploading, inappropriate photos, hentai, porn, if you think that sort of stuff's acceptable and you violate the terms of service and you get your account canceled, great, that's on you. Everybody shouldn't be denied the ability to do this because a few people want to be stupid about it. Also, the other big thing is, if you haven't heard, the two winners for the Kickstarter pets are Doggett and Pcat. We're just going to leave it at that. I don't want to get into the controversy. Now, overall, I like to do an overall reception of the live stream. What I'm going to say is that the streams continue to get better. I know I beat up on Intrepid every time they put out anything. And the truth of the matter is they need to be beaten up on. A lot of the stuff they put out, it doesn't make sense. Take, for example, the creative director's letter. If you didn't see that earlier in the month, I did a critique video. It's up there in the upper corner. Click on that. See my response to what the creative director put out. But I am going to say that Margaret talked about she has an artist on her team now. So the live stream had a little bit better of an intro. You saw that here in the on the screen. The flow of the live stream itself has gotten better. They start with Steven and Jeff and Margaret, and then Jeff leaves. They bring on a couple of people. And hearing from the staff is great. Now, I know a lot of people are skeptical about Ashes of Creation. I know a lot of people have their conspiracy theories, their issues, their problems, their complaints, their concerns, and that's fine. And if it was always Margaret, Jeff, and Steven up there, you could say that the way they're structuring it is, to make sure people feel comfortable at the end. It's really difficult to bring up 4 different people and sort of ad-lib through and make sure everybody is on the same page, and you never know what somebody's going to accidentally say. So I like hearing from the staff for all those things. I like the ad-libbed, I like the little comments. I think it's great that they're rotating through people. They're not bringing up the same people all the time. I also loved today's live stream, and on the screen you're going to see a little bit of it. The game is still a work in progress, and that is a big thing people keep forgetting. Yes, it is 2019. Yes, this is the year that Ashes of Creation was supposed to release, but the game is a work in progress, so showcase it as such. Now, there's some noteworthy things I want to pull out of the live stream. Like I said, this live stream really does bear watching, even if you pop it. It's on YouTube. Pop it on like 1.5 speed. Listen to the chipmunks do their spiel. But big thing for me that came out of it was they finally addressed Axalta. Now, the change to Axalta was promised in March. It's now July, and so you can ask Steven, just like add him in Discord, be like, is Jalon jumping up and down on your desk, PMing you and putting it like, be in your bonnet about it? And yeah, what's the delay? I don't care that it's not changed over yet. I care that you said in March in your creative director's letter, you're going to change it. Then your July creative director's letter came out, you didn't talk about it. I just want to know what the delay is. Today we found out the payment processor is tied into other systems. And I thought about that, and I told you guys I am not a web page expert. I jotted that note down, and I PM'd that question to the people in my Rolodex who are web page experts. And this is what I'm gonna say is, this is probably true. The way I asked the question to half a dozen people, I asked them the question, and they said yes. That is a completely legitimate answer. So I got to give it to them. Should have been mentioned, in some more detail a little bit earlier. Like I said in my creative director's letter critique, I said you probably should have mentioned it. It comes across a whole lot better if you're voluntarily talking about some of the problem areas, some of the ugly areas. If you have to constantly have the light shined on the bad stuff and say, hey, what about this? That doesn't come off as good. But I will say, they did say it has to do with the way they're doing their back end, the way they're doing their integration. And I can tell you, I know there is an awful lot of integration between Apocalypse and the web page because we tested it. As we would earn a level, you instantly could log into the web page. Your rewards were filtering over. So I'm going to give it to them. This will make sense. I'm glad to see they finally, put an explanation out there. What other stuff? They're showing more stuff. And one of the things that Margaret said during the live stream, and you see a clip right here, Steven's not 100% happy with everything that's being shown. If you listen to the live stream, they're going to talk about somebody wanted to show some stuff, and Steven said no, he did not approve it. This is in green. This is my opinion. They should show more. Like I said, it's a work in progress. And Steven's waiting till they're ready. And Ender's Game, a line in the book says, you don't go when you're ready. You go when you are ready enough. You're never going to have the game absolutely perfect. I mean, it'll be 2050 if we wait till everything is perfect. Show it. And truthfully, the big thing that Intrepid needs to walk away from is go back to being a little bit more transparent. Don't, throw the blinds open and go full transparent, but walk towards it. Maybe that piece of art isn't 100% ready, but it's ready enough to be shown. I think the response today in the Discord during and immediately after the live stream, people were stoked, people were hyped, and you really didn't see anything, but you saw some stuff. Also want to talk about the big things. One of the big takeaways was the wyrmling. Mounts for officers. I have a question in. They did talk about flight. And I have a clarification question in already. Margaret has acknowledged the question. Unfortunately, Steven didn't get a chance to answer me. I know a big thing for people is that they've talked about 10 flying mounts, 10 flying mounts, 10 flying mounts, plus some temporary mounts. But 10 flying mounts has been this big thing. And then today, Steven talked about the wyrmlings and flight was mentioned. I don't like making excuses for people, but what I will say is, and if you watch through all of my critique videos, I always say Steven has a habit of, he has a track record of not necessarily being 100% clear during live streams, and a lot of times when you ping him afterwards, he gives some clarification. That's why I have the question in. If there's going to be more than 10 flying mounts, is that going to be a game changer? Absolutely. Is it possible that other people might be able to get flying mounts? Absolutely. Let's wait and see until we have the clarification question answered. Some quick notes, other stuff that I want to draw out of that question and answer session. Like I said, most of the stuff to me was known, but there are a couple of bits and pieces I want to highlight. The first is nodes. More than just a mayor. Up until now, if you watch the Ashes 101 series on nodes, you'll talk about how we elect a singular mayor. Steven talked about an oligarchy today in the economic nodes. We've kind of sort of always known that was going to be an oligarchy. Not really sure how that functions. But we do now know that there are other notable leadership positions. Now, of course, I don't have any specifics to share with you. Steven is keeping stuff close to the chest. I don't have a problem with that. He leaks out a little bit of stuff. It gets us thinking. it would be nice to know if we got a little bit more clarification, especially on economic nodes, how many seats of power there are, how many people are on the board for the town, and then what some of those other leadership positions do. I'm going to touch upon this one more time in the video a little bit later. A really good question. You guys know my opinion towards the question and answer sessions. Don't waste their time, our time, your time on questions that have already been answered. Somebody asked the question, is it a flat Vera or is it a globe? This is a really important question. I had never actually thought about asking it. It's both because it's in testing. Now, the reason why this is so important is that if it is a flat Vera, then if you're all the way on the west and you can't sail more west and end up on the east, it affects your travel time. The other problem is if it's a globe, there's going to have to be some sort of justification for new continents later on in expansions. Otherwise, we get the magical, oh, the continent's always been there and you just never went there before. You can get away with a little bit of, you put ice caps at the north and the south, and then the ice caps melt, and lo and behold, there's a hidden civilization behind that glacier. But they talk about it, and they said they're going to test it both ways. The character creator. Everybody knows that a huge thing that everyone's waiting for is the character creator. It is meant to be in Alpha 1. It may be sooner or it may be later. And generally, I don't like to hear the phrase later, but I did like the answer that Jeff gave today. And he said it exists outside of the development path. And this is actually true. A lot of other games that I'm working with, your character creator isn't necessarily a key part of your game development. It is absolutely a hugely important part of your development, but you can test all of your other mechanics with a default generic character. I've done testing. You guys have seen me test a couple other games, some really small studios. They just give you, here is your default template character. Now go play with all the mechanics. Then you can make your character later. Some deliverables. I want to talk about deliverables. Deliverables for me are a huge thing. What we knew from Margaret all the way back in April, content roadmap we are aiming for is at least 1 article per week, 1 video per month, 1 live stream per month. Now, there's been a little bit of quibbling back and forth. I think that when you're aiming for 1 per week, if your average is right around 1, you're okay. If you have to miss a week here or there, that's fine. But what's kind of concerning for the month of July is that there's nothing article-wise. 4 weeks, nothing. The live stream happened, so they get the checkbox or the check mark for that. No articles this month. The dev diary, sort of. It's inside the creative director's letter. Wasn't... see, the particular part. They didn't put dev diary on it. They didn't dress it up as a developer's diary. But it walks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. I'm going to call it a duck. I'm going to give them the checkbox for that. Again, I hate making excuses for people. When you start making excuses, you start becoming a little bit too white knightish. It did sound like there were a lot of articles started and or written. And it's really hard. It's really hard to bullshit side talk, like crosstalk. If you're bullshitting your side talk, it really comes off as disingenuous. Just the way Stephen and Margaret were talking in casual conversation, I'm pretty confident they have a bunch of stuff at least started. Now, if it's written, if it's dressed up, if it's in the inbox ready to go out, I can't tell you that. But I would say I want to believe that because I kind of been beating them over the head about, hey, wait till you have 7, 8, 9 things done, dressed up, ready to go, so you never have another lapse in publication. Waiting for the right time to release them, maybe. Now is definitely not the right time. We don't want to, you're not going to see too much between now and about a week before August 20th. You got to use that hype train, use the marketing, use the hooks, drag people back to the game. The one-day testing is going to be competing against WoW Classic. So a lot of things got to line up now. Again, inexcusable that you went 0 for 4. They still do have the opportunity to release something early next week because that would be a week of July. But 0 for 4 is a bad showing. Should have put out something. Now, I know before anybody says, but they put out the creative director's letter. Normally, I would have given them credit for that. but the creative director's letter was due out in June and it got pushed. So you can't have July credit for something that you pushed into July and then check out, and it doesn't work that way. It's like you don't get credit for being on time if you were late on another project. We don't do that. And that's it for today, guys. Like I said, I mentioned earlier in the show, Ashes 101, if you guys are looking for a lot of information in a non-wiki format, I kind of structured it as a textbook. You can dump in there. Basically, you can read down the side of the page. If you want to watch the videos, they're there. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns about a topic, let me know. I'll either have the answer for you, I'll try to get the answer for you, or I'll tell you, I will outright tell you, they're not going to give me that answer. I'll still go ask it, but I can pretty much tell you I'm not going to get the answer to that. If you want to talk more, you can get me on the official Discord, Ashes Creation Discord. I'm Jalan #0001. You'll see me there all the time. Right now, I do not have a set streaming schedule. I have been fairly ill this summer. Finally figured out what was wrong with me a little bit. They put me on painkillers. Got to have some stuff done in August. And as always, big thanks to my sponsors. I currently have a giveaway going on. I'm going to be giving away 5 gift cards. I hit 5,000 subscribers earlier in July. Big, huge accomplishment for a small streamer like me, but it's only thanks to you guys. And so thanks to my sponsors for giving me money that lets me give money back to people. That's it for today, guys. I will be doing some stuff with Ashes of Creation on August 20th, and then hopefully we get a little bit more stuff between now and then, and I can do another video. Until then, you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Hey, where are you going? You're not done yet. See these videos? There's videos up here to watch. You gotta go over here. Hit the chibi. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the webpage. And I'll see you guys on Twitch.